Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of Wednesday Night Mayhem live on YouTube and StreamYard.com. It's good old MF Michael Fletcher alongside Anthony Florio. We are awaiting Michael Bullock. If he does come in, great. If he doesn't, then we will see him tomorrow night for what undoubtedly will become one of the biggest nights of our calendar, the preview of Super Bowl 55. But before we get there, Wednesday Night Mayhem, as always, AEW and NXT. And Anthony, let's just dive right in. We started off with AEW. This was their summer. I guess they were calling this the Let me see if they got it. Well, what it was one of their bigger events of the year.
Beach break.
Beach break. So we started, and we started it off with a tag team battle royale where the winners will earn a shot at the AEW World Tag Team titles at AEW Revolution. When it was all said and done, the winners of the bout in 12 minutes was Chris Jericho and MJF. The Inner Circle strikes again. Yeah, I guess you could say nice opening, good match. Normally these battle royales, you never know how it goes, but I mean, there was a lot of good talent, a lot of young guys going in, good teams looking great. At the end of the day, I could only give this maybe 3 stars. I didn't really think it was, anything too wild, but it was good for what it was worth. So, Anthony, it's yours.
Well, I'll tell you, MF, 2.5 to 3 for me. Battle Royals are always tough matches to put together thanks to the overwhelming number of bodies involved. AEW did a fine job here of intertwining ongoing storylines, showcasing young talent, and shining a light on the tension that exists within Inner Circle. Sammy Guevara and MJF cannot stand each other. There is professional jealousy and a sense of personal pride on the part of Guevara, who watched his role as the bright young star of Chris Jericho's faction handed over to the salt of the earth. Throw in a personality clash, and you have combustible elements. That story, coupled with the Good Brothers private party developments and some great work by Top Flight and the Acclaim, helped make this an above average entry into a long running match type. So, get ready for Revolution, MF. The Young Bucks against Jericho and MJF. That's got potential. I believe that's got potential. I don't know if it'll be as good as what we saw at last year's Revolution, which ended up being for a lot of people the match of the year in the world of professional wrestling. I know it was mine. So really not much more to say there. 2.5 to 3. So with that being said, MF, let's move on.
All right, Anthony, don't unmute. Keep the mic unmuted because it is all about you right now. As you lead off on our next matchup, this is the one we were looking for and we were all waiting for. Dr. Britt Baker, 1-on-1 with Thunder Rosa. It finally happened. Britt Baker wins the match in 13 minutes and 15 seconds. Anthony, for all the hype, for everything we were waiting for, COVID got in the way. It got pushed back. We finally got the match. Did it deliver? Did it live up to your expectations?
Answer: yes, it did. 3.5 to 3.75 of a star. This was a hell of a match between two women with great chemistry and a strong story supporting it. Dr. Britt Baker continues to look like the undisputed future of women's wrestling in AEW. She already has proven herself a strong character, and with her in-ring work growing and evolving every week, she is going to be one of the biggest stars in this company sooner rather than later. Thunder Rosa is just a great professional wrestler. Her work is undeniable, and with a heel like Baker to play off of, she has thrived. Here is hoping we see more of her in an AEW ring, because she could be a huge asset to a division still trying to find itself. But this was one of the better women's matches we've had in AEW in a long time. So 3.5 to 3.75. I'll call this my sleeper fight of the night. Not the fight of the night. Not quite, but it's definitely the sleeper fight of the night. I wasn't sure going in, but then again, Thunder Rosa, we know her body of work, and wow, great. 3.5, 3 3/4. MF, what a match.
It was everything we expected it. This was the moment we wanted. It was as good as advertised, and it delivered in more ways than one. I think we can say, without a doubt, it was perfect. Everything went great. There's really nothing more to say. Next up on the fight card we had was Adam Hangman Page and Matt Hardy versus the Chaos Project. Hangman Page and Hardy wins the match in 3 minutes and 55 seconds. This was alright, I guess. I mean, this was pretty much... It was kind of a painless match. Very quick. Didn't really make much of a impact on here. But, you know, it did what it needed it to do. So, solid match was done, and there's really nothing more to add. So, Anthony, it's yours.
To me, this was the worst fight of the night. I'm going to be honest here. I can only give this about 1 star, maybe 1.5 for the effort. Because this was a glorified squash match designed to highlight the storyline involving Hangman Adam Page and Matt Hardy rather than deliver a proverbial barn burner. In that regard, it worked fine enough. Hardy, the egotistical and greedy businessman at this point in his career, continued his plan to manipulate Page into joining his empire, while Hangman showed the sort of hesitation you would expect from a star who has repeatedly been talked at and pushed in every which direction. The story has potential, but eventually Page will have to stand up for himself and tell everyone to stop poking, prodding, and trying to push him around. So 1 to 1.5, this was hands down the worst fight of the night. But MF, for the first time ever in AEW history, we had ourselves a wedding and a wedding day.
Yes, we did. This was the big one. The wedding of Kip Sabian and Superbad Penelope Ford. And in all attempted purposes, Anthony, the wedding itself went off without a hitch. They actually got married. It went through, no problems. The chaos ensued after the wedding. But as far as the wedding goes, I think we could call this, for AEW, for the first time out, we could call this a success.
Certainly. And couple things. First off, Father Jim Mitchell. What a cool surprise that was.
Yes.
We're big fans of his. I mean, especially you, MF, especially since his Sinister Minister days.
Oh yes.
I know you liked him in that role, whereas I remember him as Father James Mitchell from TNA Impact Wrestling, and
the Sinister Minister actually harkens back to the days of ECW. So that's where that started, where he was with Mikey Whipwreck and Tajiri.
And let's not forget in Impact Wrestling when he was most notably with Abyss and Judas Messias.
Yes, he was.
Yes, sir. And of course, Penelope Ford. Wowzers. What? My God. Like Mauro Ranallo once famously said, there are no words. I mean, oh boy. I mean, one of our favorite Eagles songs, and one of these nights, you know, there's that little lyric that our boy Don Henley sang so great. I've been searching for the daughter of the devil himself. I've been looking for an angel in white. You got one.
You got one tonight. Yep.
Oh.
You got one tonight.
Yep. So it took a while, but my heart's back in my chest now.
I was about to ask you that, and you just took the question right out of my mouth, because I was about to ask you that.
I was like Jerry the King Lawler was back in the Attitude and Ruthless Aggression era.
Okay, that's what I was wondering. That was what I was wondering. I was like, come on, it's surely Florio. I know he's man of faith, man of God now, but the temptation there. I mean, I mean, I don't. I kind of wonder if you were going to be able to hold it.
Oh man, but yeah, hard eye emoji and then some. Um, heart pounding out of my chest. I mean, my God. I mean, there were no words, literally.
Mm,
Kip Sabian, you lucky son of a gun. That's
mm,
all there is to say.
agreed.
But all right, but I'll say this though. This was AEW's first wrestling wedding segment, so it gets a pass that other promotions may not. The use of Jim Mitchell was a great touch. The pace of the segment was fine, and the post pronouncement angle was fun. Nothing really reinvented the wheel here, but Miro was extraordinary as the sarcastic best man who could not help but bring up his wealth of experience in wrestling weddings, down to wearing the same outfit he did when Roman Reigns broke up his ceremony with Lana back in 2016. We all remember that on the Monday Night Raw, where Lana had her face. Lana got the cake a lot worse than Penelope did, but Penelope didn't really get caked that badly. Whereas Lana, oh man, the cake was all in her hair and everything. We all remember that. The ensuing match will be fun, if nothing else, and that's exactly what you expect from this crop of characters. We're probably looking at a tag team matchup here with Chucky T and Orange Cassidy against Kip Sabian and Miro down the line, maybe at Revolution. We'll have to wait and see, but that's really all I can say on that. So, yeah, the wedding ceremony went off without a hitch, but the chicanery that we expected went down afterwards. So, but Miro, to me, Miro was the star of the segment here. In all seriousness, but like I said, nice to see Jim Mitchell and Penelope. Well, I know a lot of guys are going to be dreaming about that game tonight. No
Mm,
doubt.
mm.
So, not much more to say, MF. Wow.
Yeah, you know what? I'm actually happy that they actually did the wedding correctly. I think that was the biggest worry that we had going in was that were they gonna try to go the campy route? Were they gonna go with the comedy big skit? Were they gonna give us a not so successful wedding? Was it gonna get blown to bits or something like that? But relatively honestly, there was a couple of minutes where Miro had his, voiced his little input, but he never really interfered in the wedding. They did their vows. Penelope, whoa, girl, whoa. I almost had to slam the brakes on. I almost had to pump the brakes on that one. She almost went ECW level on us, and even Kip was like, "Oh, honey, you can't say that on TV. I know, I love you, but no, you can't go there." Even network TV would not allow what she was about to say. I mean, you're going in a level that's beyond us. No. So thank God that it didn't go there. But it was nice. It needed to be successful. It was. Props to AEW for pulling it off. I did not mind the shenanigans after the wedding. That was fine. That was good. Everything played out that it needed it to play out. Because all in all, this was one of the highlighted events, and it worked. It worked. It played out very well. There was nothing that you can say. So, the next thing that we had after that was we had Lance Archer versus Eddie Kingston in a lumberjack match. Lance Archer wins the match. However, I don't have a time. Anthony, if you can get that, that'd be great. But, the match was fine. I mean, it was okay. It was solid. It was about maybe 2.5 stars. There was really nothing major to write home about. It was good for what it was worth. And Anthony, there's really nothing more to add, so it's all yours.
Yeah. Let me try to find this here. Hopefully I can get it. Might be able to. Let's see. Um, no, no. Sorry, can't find it, unfortunately.
All right, that's
But
fine. It's all yours then.
yeah. Let's see. Um, I would probably give this about 2.5 to 3 for the effort here. I mean, this was a hard hitting brawl of a match that would have been better as a no DQ match than the lackluster lumberjack stipulation it had here. It was not terribly effective under those rules and was messy to boot. Had it been a strict street fight, that could have involved most of the key spots without having to shoehorn itself into the advertised stipulation. This would have worked better. As it was a battle. Archer won, and now we wonder what awaits Eddie Kingston and his family moving forward. So 2.5 to 3, that's the best I can give it. So not much more to say. MF, I believe it's main event time here.
It is indeed main event, and
Oh,
this one, 6-man tag team fight, and it was the Good Brothers, Carl Anderson and Doc Gallows, the Impact Wrestling World Tag Team Champions, and the AEW World Champion, the Cleaner, Kenny Omega. They went up against Ray Phoenix, Pac, and Jon Moxley. Kenny Omega and the Good Brothers won the match in 15 minutes and 25 seconds, but all hell broke loose after the match was over. Lance Archer hit the ring. They started brawling. After that, a mystery man out of nowhere jumps Moxley and hits the GTS on him. Wait a minute. GTS? No, it can't be him. It was Kenta of New Japan Pro Wrestling from the Bullet Club invades AEW. Well, Mox jumped Kenta at New Japan Pro Wrestling's Strong Show, that went down in Long Beach. Kenta jumps the border from the United States, from Japan, comes to the USA, and just jumped Moxley in AEW's turf. Whoa! Anthony Florio, the internet is a buzz right now because Impact, New Japan, and AEW have they combined forces?
They may have.
Oh my God! If they did,
I'm very curious, MF. When did you get word of what happened here?
about a half hour ago. Literally a half an hour ago.
Working, I know.
But my boys in Discord, boy, they went nuts. Like everybody was freaking.
Yeah, you beat me to the punch there. I was about to ask you what they thought, but
Oh no, everybody's going nuts. Everybody's marking right now.
Yep, and and you found it obviously on Derek Ferreira because Derek Ferreira posted it as well. And oh my, what a main event! Gosh, 4.25 to 4.5 stars. This to me was the fight of the night, hands down. A hell of a main event to close out the show, accentuated by a stunning angle involving Kenta, aka Hideo Itami, for all you WWEers out there. AEW absolutely delivered with this main event, in which Ray Phoenix continued to prove why he is the hottest young star in the business. Pac reminded everyone he is a top-tier competitor, and Jon Moxley and Kenny Omega intensified their rivalry. The appearance by Kenta is stunning and suggests that AEW and New Japan Pro Wrestling may have struck an agreement that could open the door for the promotions to work together on a grander scale. With Impact Wrestling already on board, the idea that AEW might have deals with multiple promotions has to force the competition to sit up and take notice. And if it hasn't yet, it should. just a fantastic capper to a damn fine show. AEW is rolling into the Revolution pay-per-view, in which for the first time ever, they will do it on a Sunday night. Sunday night, March the 7th. So we're a month and change away from that, but my God, what a match. I mean, just all around action, the near falls. I mean, it had that feel of Shakespearean drama. And yeah, Justin Roberts with those epic ring announcements. North Carolina. Yep, you know how much I love that. And then the Ray Phoenix and the Jon Moxley. Oh, that alone got me pumped up for this match. And damn, was that fun. Great way to cap off for the first time in a couple of weeks what ended up being a great AEW show. But then again, going into this, we had a feeling it would be. And after a couple of weeks, they're finally back on track. We'll have more on that in a minute. So 4.25, maybe 4.5, but it's definitely the fight of the night. MF, I mean, this main event, I hope you have a DVR'd. I hope you did something with it, because you got to go out of your way to see this main event. This was a Michael Fletcher special, hands down.
Yeah, no doubt about it. This was a 4.5 star match. This was a great main event. You basically built everything that you just said, but like you said, Kenta, surprise. I mean, none of us saw this coming. No, there was no dirt sheets. There was no plan. There was nothing. Nobody was able to leak this out. This was not leaked out at all. There was no dirt sheet that Kenta was in the United States, let alone that he was in Jacksonville. So that was a complete and utter surprise. Total stunner. It's on. Now, Kenta versus Moxley for the IWGP United States Heavyweight title has now taken a life of its own. And now people are starting to wonder, will they do the fight in Jacksonville? Are they going to let Moxley versus Kenta, will that fight actually now happen in an AEW ring? Not let alone just New Japan. Because we know they could do it in Long Beach, at where they would do the NJPW Strong. They could do it there. They could do it in Japan if they wanted to at the New Beginnings. They got that. Or do you roll the dice and let AEW do this fight at Revolution?
MF, I can help you with this. It's Derek Ferreira sent something in our messenger, but I found it here. It's supposedly going to take place on. Let me see if I can find the date on this. It will go down on February 26th at New Beginning, USA. That's
which would be Long Beach, California.
Okay.
If I remember correctly. So yeah, it is, and you know, Matt Ward is here and he did talk about it. Yeah, Mox started it. He attacked Kenta first in Long Beach at Strong, which is true because I witnessed it. I saw it happen. Go on YouTube if you can. Moxley showed up and jumped Kenta. So yeah, this is where it all began. So we'll have to wait and see. I'm guessing, yeah, it will be in Long Beach, California. So there's really nothing more to say. Actually, Derek Ferreira just added this. F King G 401. That is Derek Ferreira. Plus Moxley can't go to Japan because of COVID travel restrictions. And actually, New Japan's got a... Oh! Okay! Plus, New Japan has a major announcement tomorrow morning. I wonder if that has anything to do with AEW. We'll see. Maybe. So, whatever the case may be, we got some big news coming out. This was an 8 to 8.5 out of 10. Holy cow, what a night this was for AEW. Welcome back, is what I say. Damn good show, great wrestling. Storyline wise, okay, there was some good moments, not some great, but the main event stole the show. The main event is the reason why you watch this show tonight.
Positively.
So, nothing more to say. 8 to 8.5, Anthony, go.
Yeah, positively, MF. You're absolutely right on that. I wouldn't go as far as 8.5. I think 7.5 to 8. I think that might be the correct rating for this. I mean, two great matches, which was the main event and the women's match. Two solid but not overly spectacular matches in the Battle Royale and the Lumberjack match. We had only one bad match, which was the squash. The wedding did what it needed to do. I mean, the wedding ended up being a lot more fun than we thought, and yeah, I mean, a couple of bad weeks, a couple of rare bad weeks for these guys, but they're finally back on track, and for the first time since probably the January 13th edition of this show, after two so weeks, AEW Dynamite was back in a big way. So yeah, don't take your foot off the gas now. Keep the foot back on keep the foot on the gas there, folks. And one more quick thing now that we need to address quickly. 1 month from now, exactly a month from now, on March 3rd, on that edition of AEW Dynamite, we wanted that dream mixed tag match. We're getting it. Cody Rhodes, Red Velvet versus Shaquille O'Neal and Jade Cargill. It's gonna happen Wednesday, March 3rd on Dynamite. Not at the pay-per-view. I'm very surprised they didn't save this for the pay-per-view, but no, MF, we're getting that match on free television. How about that? So that's really all there is to say on this. I don't know what's on tap for next week. But actually, there's going to be a TNT title match next week. Darby Allin is going to defend the TNT Championship against the bad boy, Joey Janela. And MJF and Chris Jericho is going to square off against the Acclaimed. And Cody Rhodes and Lee Johnson against Pretty Peter Avalon and Cesar Bononi. So, well, it might be back to reality for AEW after this great show tonight. So with that being said, MF, let's move on to NXT, who's been kicking some butt as of late, and they did so again tonight.
Yeah, all right, and we indeed will do that. We started it off with the semifinals of the Women's Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. This is the one that I was looking forward to. Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez versus Kaden Carter and Casey Catanzaro. When it was all said and done, Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai advances to the finals. 13-01 over Casey Catanzaro and Kaden Carter. Look, great match, great opener. I'm just devastated with the outcome, man. This was not what I wanted. Look, don't get me wrong. Dakota Kai and Raquel Gonzalez are a dangerous tag team. They probably are now. We're going to have to wait and see how this plays out at the end. But I'm a little upset here. Because you got Nia Jackson, you got Shayna Baszler right now as the women tag team champions. That's a heel squad right now as the tag team champions. This would have been the perfect underdog story to give Kaden Carter and Casey Catanzaro the rub here. Now, I get it. They got a big win last week, or at the beginning of the tournament. That was an upset victory because a lot of people didn't think they were going to win that first round match. I would have gone crazy if they would have won this. But they don't. They get dumped out in the semifinal. Raquel and Dakota advances. They're now awaiting the winners of the second semifinal match, which would be Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon versus Indy Hartwell and Candice LeRae, which I believe that fight is next week. So that semifinal is next week. And then I believe the final will most likely be at the St. Valentine's Day event, if memory serves me right.
You are correct. That is correct.
So the St. Valentine's takeover will be the final of the women's, and I believe the men's might be in the finals too at that night too. So we're gonna have two Dusty Classic finals matches to go down. But Anthony Florio, this is about a 3.5 star match. It was a great opener. I'm just upset with the outcome. I am not happy with who went over.
I'm not at all surprised to hear that. But then again, I'm sorry to say it, Matt, but I told you so. I called this. I called this the minute the match came about. I mean, I would have loved to have seen the upset here. I would have, but unfortunately, I had to be right about this, and I kind of feel a little bad about it. But it is what it is. But 3.25 to 3.5 stars. Raquel Gonzalez and Dakota Kai are destined for great things as individuals, but as a team, they still have plenty they can bring to the division. The biggest complaint about this match comes down to one moment. Catanzaro hit Gonzalez with her finisher, and Kai was going to be late breaking it up. So Catanzaro appeared to roll away before she was hit. Other than that, this was a fun, high-energy match that allowed all four women to stand out for different reasons. Even though they lost, Carter and Catanzaro looked slightly more cohesive as a unit. That I'll give you, MF. So, 3.25 to 3.5 stars. It's one of the fights of the night, so not much more to say. Let's move on.
All right, next up we had was Austin Theory versus Leon Ruff. When it was all said and done, Austin Theory wins the match in 6 minutes and 16 seconds. Anthony, it's yours.
2.5 stars. The feud between Leon Ruff and Johnny Gargano has slowed down quite a bit, but you wouldn't know it from this match. Both guys looked like they were giving it everything they had. Ruff might need to slow down occasionally so his moves look a little crisper, but he is still one of the smoothest high flyers in NXT today. He just makes everything look so easy. Austin Theory has a lot of skill, but he needs a better character. Being Gargano's buddy isn't helping him anymore. Gargano's involvement was almost an afterthought in this match. He needs a new rival who can make the North American title picture interesting again. And, oh, by the way, he has one. NXT TakeOver, they're calling it Vengeance Day, MF. That North American title match that we were hoping for? We're getting it. Johnny Gargano versus Kushida. Thank you, Mr. Regal. 2.5 stars. MF, go nuts.
Yeah, this is going to be a great match. Kushida definitely deserves the moment. Johnny Gargano, let's see how this plays out. 2.5 stars. This was a solid match. I don't think there was anything more that we can add here. Next up we had was Joaquin Wilde and Raul Mendoza. They went up against Gran Metalik and Lince Dorado in a quarterfinal match of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. And it was Joaquin Wilde and Raul Mendoza. They have advanced to the semifinals. They win the match in 6 minutes and 23 seconds. This was a good match. This was a good, fun tag team sprint, as Anthony, you would like to allude to. 2.5 to 2.75 of a star. I don't think it was a full 3 because of the length of the match, but there was still some good tag team action. So, Florio, it's yours.
Yeah, 2.5, 2.75. I mean, the spot when Joaquin Wilde tried to hit both opponents with a DDT looked too planned and did not end up working. But that was the only major error made in a match full of risky spots. When you put two teams in the ring together that focus on high-flying offense, you are going to get a fun show. That is why so many people, especially MF, love the Lucha Libre style of wrestling. Wilde and Mendoza may have had their best showing to date in this bout, and some of the credit for this performance goes to Dorado and Metalik for making them look so good. It would be nice for Metalik and Dorado to get a push at the tag team, but putting over Legado del Fantasma was the right call. And guess who they get to face in the semifinals next week? The former Rascals from TNA, MSK. Get ready. You thought this match was fun? Wait till you see what those four can bring to the table next week. 2.5, 2.75, teetering on 3. Not much more to say. MF, let's continue on, and let's just say the youngins down there in NXT had a very special guest joining them.
Oh, yeah. A very special guest. The winner of the 2021 Royal Rumble, Edge, the Rated R Superstar, making his, I believe this is the first time he's ever appeared on NXT. He's never been on NXT before, so this was his debut on the black and gold brand, like they would like to call. And Anthony, what a moment for the Rated R Superstar.
And what a moment indeed. I mean, well, first things first. TakeOver Vengeance, the match we wanted, we're getting. Finn Balor, Pete Dunne, NXT Championship. We've got an early match of the year contender here, folks. Let me tell you that right now. And but as far as this is concerned, this was the segment of the night. Edge is so good at putting people over on the mic that Pete Dunne and Finn Balor didn't have to say a single word once he was in the ring. It's highly unlikely Edge will challenge for the NXT Championship at WrestleMania, but the tease was a fun way to explain his presence at the show. This was a great segment, but it did end up feeling slightly awkward toward the end. Balor and Dunne don't need the rub from Edge, but he also didn't hurt anything by showing up. It was one of those segments that, while it was entertaining, was somewhat unnecessary. Keyword somewhat, but other than that, though, this was great. I mean, Bullock broke the news about last night in our messenger, and we were thinking, oh my goodness, is he going to go after the NXT title? I mean, hey, Charlotte did it last year on the women's side, and look how that ended up. So, but the plan, as of right now, according to some dirt sheets that I'm reading, the plan right now, especially Uncle Dave Meltzer, he's the plan I'm hearing right now is for Edge, and I know MF is going to freak when he hears this. The plan as of now, you never know, it could change, but the plan they're saying as of now, as far as Edge, who's Edge going to fight at Mania, the plan is right now for Edge to go after Roman in the Universal Championship on SmackDown, and I know that's what MF wants more than anything. So I know MF would bounce around like Tigger if he gets that match, because I know how much he would love to see that. That would be a big boost for Friday Night SmackDown indeed. But we'll see. But that is the rumor as of right now. So not much more to say on this, but hey, he very much teased with NXT there. I'm like, oh my goodness. I mean, that would have been epic if he had done this, but I think it's highly unlikely. But that's all there is to say. This was the segment of the night, though. MF, so much came out of this. I mean, Balor versus Dunne at the TakeOver. That's going to steal the damn show. Early match of the year candidate. And then from there, with the scenario that I just dropped about Edge, I think you might be going after your tribal chief, man. That's what I'm hearing.
Well, we'll wait and see it, because I read the same thing. And I'm going to say this. If you take a poll of which belt Edge should go after, overwhelmingly, at least I want to say almost a 2/3 majority wants to see Edge go after Roman Reigns and the Universal title. So it's not like there's some people that wants it. There's at least more than 50% of the public, I want to say about 55%, wants to see him. And this is, if you put the three out there, the Universal title and SmackDown is number 1, Raw is 2, NXT is a distant 3rd. So this is unlike with Charlotte, where a lot of people were like, well, Charlotte could go after this belt, she could go after that belt. There was talk about NXT because of the fact of Rhea Ripley being the champion, so they were thinking, give the rub to Rhea. Well, we saw what happened there. And Mike Bullock was spitting kittens at the end of it. So, this time around, yeah, look, don't get me wrong. Drew versus Edge would be a great match. No doubt about it. It would be a great battle. It would be a great war. But here's the problem. Two really strong baby faces going at it at WrestleMania. We've had it before. We've had battles like that in the past. But to be honest, the best way to do this is to get Edge, who's a really good face, against the nuclear heel of Roman Reigns. Let that be something. And yeah, Matt Ward did say that he believes it was going to be Edge versus Roman at Mania. He called it. I wanted it. You know, I've been on the table yelling, "Give me Edge, give me Edge. I want him. Bring him to the Blue Brand. Come to Friday night. I dare you to come to Friday night." And that's the whole thing that was going to happen. And so we'll see how this plays out more than anything else. So this is going to get crazy. All right, so next up on the show, we had, after the Edge appearance, Toni Storm versus Jessi Kamea. Well, the fight got thrown out in 1:31 because Mercedes Martinez showed up and basically destroyed everybody in sight. Whoa! Mercedes making an impact, saying, no, ladies, this is my house now. This is my division. Whoa. Okay, look out. We got ourselves a brawl. Then we had a one-on-one match. It was Santos Escobar putting the Cruiserweight title on the line against Kurt Stallion, winner of the match. In 9 minutes and 52 seconds, still the Cruiserweight champion of the world, Santos Escobar, successfully defends the title. Good match. Well done match. Solid fight. 3 stars for me. Anthony Florio. Santos Escobar is still the Cruiserweight champion of the world. And the thing is, he's getting better and better and better. His reign is right now, I'm going to say it, his title reign is going down as one of the real special title reigns in WWE/NXT today.
Absolutely. And what was the time of that again?
9:52.
9:52. All right. 3 stars. I agree. Kurt Stallion is a relatively new talent, so he can afford to take a beating like this without suffering too much. This match was all about making Escobar look like a strong champion, and it did just that. Stallion looked good when he got in a little offense and sold well for his opponent. His job was to make Escobar look good, and he did his duty like a pro. The post-match moment with Karrion Kross and Santos Escobar was interesting, but it's hard to look at either of them as a babyface in this feud. The next couple of weeks will be important to making this storyline make sense. But, because you had the smoke show there. And that's all I can say. But yes, MF, Santos Escobar, 245 days and counting as the Cruiserweight champion of the world, as you would say. So, I think since this inception of the Cruiserweight championship, I think he's held it longer than anybody. I think the previous long run was Pac when he was Neville in 2017. I think he held it for about 7 months or so, winning it at the Royal Rumble and then losing it on the go-home show to SummerSlam for Raw in Boston. That was about a good 6.5 to 7 month run. I think Escobar's already surpassed it. I think he's held it coming up on almost 8 months now. So, at this rate, he could go down as the best Cruiserweight champion of this era. So, since the Cruiserweights came back in 2016. So, and now it leads me to the question, who in the world is going to stop this guy? Who in the world who's going to finally dethrone him? My answer, I have no idea. He's that good. I have no clue who's going to take it off him. I can't think of anybody. I had thought Drake Maverick, but obviously they moved on from that storyline rather quickly. So I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Keep an eye on 205 Live, I guess. So 3 stars, teetering on 3.25. Not much more to say. MF. Let's move on to what ended up being a very fun main event. I mean, you thought AEW's main event was fun? This main event was just as much fun.
Tommaso Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher teaming up to take on two members of the Undisputed Era, Roderick Strong and Adam Cole. When it was all said and done, the winners of the bout and advancing to the semi-finals, it is Tommaso Ciampa and Timothy Thatcher. They win the match in 17 minutes and 5 seconds. Anthony Florio, it is all yours.
Same rating as AEW's main event, 4.25 to 4.5 stars. Fight of the night. Oh my word. Adam Cole, Roderick Strong, Tommaso Ciampa, and Timothy Thatcher represent some of the best workers in all of WWE. So it should not surprise anyone that they stole the show with this bout. They packed a lot into the time they had and left us wanting more. That is one of the ways you know this was a great performance. The combination of Ciampa and Thatcher works so well that WWE might want to consider keeping them together for a little while to elevate their tag team division. Since neither team was heel, the few dozen fans in attendance were popping for all four men at different times. It helped make this a fun main event and one of the best matches we will see all week, along with the sixth man from AEW. And Ciampa and Thatcher move on. And next week in the semifinals, MF, we got another fun one coming up. Ciampa and Thatcher against the grizzled young veterans. That's got Be a Man Hoss Fight written all over it. That's all I can say on that. So, wow. Both main events were incredible. I really can't put one over the other. They were both really good. So I'm just going to give it the same rating, 4.25, 4.5. Man, I mean, Ciampa and Thatcher against the GYV. Oh boy,
that's going to be a fight. That's going to be a fight. Batten down the hatches next week, folks. That's going to be a war. 4.5 stars for me. Great way to close the show. Good battle all the way to the end. And I'm going to say it. I kind of made the bold prediction for Casey Catanzaro and Caden Carter that I really wanted them to get to the finals and everything else. But we got to keep a real close eye on Ciampa and Thatcher. They could win the whole thing. They just knocked out a team in the UE that has won the Dusty Classic before. Undisputed Era has won it. And now they've dumped them out? I think you gotta start thinking, look at the bracket, guys. Thatcher and Ciampa could actually win the whole damn thing. And if they do, you know what the prize is. A guaranteed title shot at the NXT World Tag Team titles. So, maybe this might be the start of maybe two guys who've been battling it out, being great enemies, turning into good friends, and who knows, they might end up becoming the next tag team champions of NXT. We'll have to wait and see. Overall review, which I believe I gotta get it again. God, I don't know where to go with this. This number, I mean, maybe another 8 out of 10? I could probably go higher, because I thought there was only one bad match if you really think about it the whole night. The Toni Storm versus Jessie Camilla. That fight got thrown out, but other than that, I couldn't find anything else that was bad about NXT tonight. To say the very least. Anthony, what says you? I'm going to give this another 8, maybe 8.5.
Yeah. This is one of the rare times we can say both shows were a draw, because both shows were really brought it tonight. I mean, this was the best week of 8 of the Wednesday Night Wars we've seen. Only a month into 2021. I got to say tonight this week was the best week we've seen yet. I mean, this was great as well. I mean, the main event stole the damn show. What else is new? The women's Dusty match was great. Uh, I mean, we had like what, three, maybe four good matches on this show. One solid, fun little sprint, not overly special, but a fun little sprint. And then we only had one really bad match. So, and then the Edge segment was delivered like we thought it would. So, definitely lived up to that hype. So, I think a solid 8 out of 10. I think that's about right. So, great action all around. AEW Dynamite, NXT, both you folks knocked it out of the park tonight. Great job on both ends. And MF, in closing, nothing more to say except this was, for me, so far in 2021, this was the best week of Wednesday Night Wrestling we've seen yet. Hopefully, it'll get better going forward. So, I think NXT looks more appealing next week because of those dusty matches and everything else. So, so not much more to say. 8 out of 10. The most in-depth and detailed Super Bowl preview edition of Strictly Sports we've ever done.
Yeah, tomorrow night at 10:30 Eastern, we will go in depth. It will be Super Bowl 55, the New England I was going to say New England Patriots. I'm so used to them being in the Super Bowl. They're not in it this year. I wish
we could have said Buffalo Bills, but that's another
story. True. But it is the Kansas City Chiefs going up against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and we will cover it from beginning to end, pillar to post as we like to call it, and this will be the preview of Super Bowl 55. We'll tell you what we like offensively, defensively, special teams, coaching, who's the X Factor, everything. We're gonna no stone will be unturned tomorrow, including the prediction, who we think is gonna win it all. We're gonna do that at 10:30 tomorrow, and then Friday night is another edition of Cerebral Smack Talk as we go through SmackDown Live, which could be a very interesting show. Fallout from Rumble, and we'll wait and see what happens there. So, thank you, Anthony Florio, as always. Thank you guys, as always. We'll see you guys tomorrow night. So, until then, have a good night, everybody, and so long for now. See you tomorrow night.
Goodbye.